Chronicle Newspaper. So I'd like to ask you, where can our people find the Jerusalem Chronicle newspaper? Is it online? How do they access that? Because I'd love for our listeners to definitely take advantage of purchasing the Jerusalem Chronicle for you, because that is your business. That is a source of information, and we need to keep dollars where they need to be.
I appreciate that. And one of the ways that they can get in contact, I like for them just to do it if they would just simply reach out, and I would like to give them a phone number out. You can always call the news desk and get the subscription. You have a subscription desk, and you can call in. We take the information directly from you, all the information, and after that we'll mail you the paper out and send you the information that you need to send us in order for us to place you on our mailing list. Every time the paper come out, the paper will be sent directly to you. We do have a Facebook where we keep up with different news and things going on in the world to keep our people up on a day-by-day basis, because the paper comes out every 2 months. But with the world changing the way it is, a lot of things happen instantly, day by day. So you can go to our Facebook for that. At Facebook, that's Yitzhak. That's YISSAC. And you spell it again, Yitzhak, YISSAC. It's spelled twice. First name is YISSAC. Last name is YISSAC. That's Yitzhak. Also, you can go to the Jerusalem Chronicle on Facebook as well, and that is also a way that you can see new news, new information coming from all different quarters throughout the community. Various segments of the community is piped into that, so you get a chance to just see a lot of information coming from all different segments of consciousness in the black community on the Jerusalem Chronicle. Yitzhak, it comes out with information back to back on the Chronicle on a daily basis. So in between looking at the Facebook, looking at the Yitzhak, and looking at the Jerusalem Chronicle newspaper, Facebook, and also Twitter. If you go to Twitter, you look at Jehoshaphat Israel. My name is YEHOSHAPHAT, and the last name is ISRAL1. So at Jehoshaphat Israel 1. That's how you can follow me on Twitter, and also at Jerusalem Chronicle. That's also on Twitter as well. And on Jerusalem Chronicle, we have a protest that's going on. That's been going on for the last 5 years, going on 6 years. A good example why we needed a paper is that back in February 21st of 2015, you had a young African Hebrew young lady that was a part who had joined the Israeli Defense Force, the IDF, over in Israel. And when she joined the IDF over in Israel, she came up mysteriously slain on the Palamon Air Base there in Israel on February 21st of 2015. The IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, they immediately said that the 19-year young girl had committed suicide. But after further investigation, they come to find out that she had 2 holes in her head. So with 2 holes in her head, they noticed she couldn't have committed suicide. It had to be murder. And so from our investigation that we have done with the paper and looking back and forth, what the Spirit had led us to see is that it's one of her superior officers is guilty for attempting to sexually molest her, rape her, and also when he did it, he took her life. But the IDF, they immediately closed the case in military court, and they turned it over and said that it was a suicide. But nobody's ever committed suicide with 2 holes in their head. You shoot yourself once, you fall to the ground. There's no way you shoot yourself and stand still and shoot yourself twice. So they immediately let you know that there was some type of foul play involved. So we covered that with the newspaper. We covered that from the newspaper all the way from 2015 up until now, and we continue to put that on the forefront. Our brothers and sisters in the United States of America, a lot of them didn't know about it because most of our struggle is focused here in the United States of America. But what our brothers and sisters have to realize, especially in 2020 going into 2021, that we as a people, we must internationalize our struggle. Black America must no longer feel like you're confined to the United States of America in terms of seeking a solution to the problems that face us as a people. We got to think outside the American box that we've been boxed in for the last 400 years. We got to look at the world from an international perspective, which means that in the future it may be necessary for us as a people to think about repatriation and looking at building our communities, building businesses, and building a life for ourselves outside the confines of the United States of America. There is another world besides the United States of America. And I know our people have been like, the blinders on, like, when you take a horse or a mule and you put the blinders on, he can only see what you allow him to see because you have the blinders on. And this is what they have done to our people for the last 4 centuries. They put blinders on our people, although they mistreated them, although they said that we are who we are and have not given us the dignity of a human being, but at the same time, they still kept the blinders on it, so to make us think that this was the only solution, this was the only place, we had no other alternative but to deal with them and to take what they was putting down. But it's a new day. Yeah. It's 2021. Information is flowing. You got information flowing internationally. You can talk to a brother on the continent just like me and you talking to each other right here. You can see people across the world the same way we see each other face to face every day. So this is opening up a whole new different dimension that is bringing our awareness to a different horizon. And so we should take advantage of that and create the international ties. And then as we confront the powers that be here in the United States of America and deal with the different issues that we have to deal with, we don't feel like we're boxed in. We have an alternative measure. The same way people that come to America and from China, they may have a Chinatown in San Francisco, but if they ever need to go, they can always go back to Beijing. The same way the Japanese, they build up great communities here in the United States of America, but if they need to, they can always go to Tokyo. But if the black man in the United States...
Really quick, and then I want to get back to that because I don't want our listeners to lose focus on the story that you were talking about. You mentioned that the sister was raped, murdered, shot several times. What was her name?
Her name was Tovit Ratcliffe. You spelled it Toveet. Tovit.
I remember
her last
that.
name is Ratcliffe. It's Radcliffe. You can go to YouTube. You can search all type of information come up. You can Google. All type of information come up. You can do your own investigation. You'll be able to see it for yourself. And the best thing we could do is bring awareness. To let them know that, as they always say, never again. Well, we say never again. And never, especially in silence, where you just walk away as if you haven't done anything. But the first time you do something to them, the first time they start hollering, anti-Semitism, anti-Semitism, anti-Semitism. But this was the death of a woman. And the Jewish community in America, they know about it. They know about it. And they're well aware of it.
I'm going to tell you why I remember it. I remember it because I actually covered a story on it. And because it reminded me, not only is it a heinous crime, first and foremost, it's a crime against humanity, right? It's genocide. It's a crime against our people, right? It's a hatred crime. It's a racial hate crime, right? But it also reminded me of Lavina Lynn Johnson, who was raped and murdered in the military. It sounded similar to that. And then they had to cover up.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It was the same exact thing. It was the same exact thing. It was the same exact case. Exactly, very similar case. And they did the same thing with her. And they did the same thing with her with Tovik as well. They sure did. Yes, they sure did.
Yeah.
They sure did.
That's horrible.
And without our information source to at least let our people be aware of it, and then they at least can't walk away from it and say that we didn't do any wrong. Now you could ignore the evil that you've done, but at least we'll let you know that we know that you did do evil. And so, we're conscious of it, and we'll let you know that we are conscious of it, so you'll be conscious of it, and you can't just, act as if it didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's part of being transparent and holding people accountable, definitely. So let's talk about your initiatives. What initiatives do you have going on besides the Jerusalem Chronicle newspaper? I mean, it's phenomenal in itself. I mean, that's the fact that that it has existed since 1990 speaks volumes in itself. So again, I just want to say, I appreciate the work that you have done with the Jerusalem Chronicle newspaper, and I'm looking forward to seeing some upcoming editions. So tell us a little bit more about your initiatives, what you got going on, what you got coming up. And I also understand that you've had several trips back and forth to Africa, so let's talk about that too.
Yes, sir. Good. All right. And this is the initiative that we had that was an outgrowth of the Jerusalem Chronicle. Of course, by being an editor of the newspaper and being a reporter and all at the same time, you have to keep your feet to the beat and the ears to the street so you stay up on the information that's flowing. So in our, keeping up abreast the news, we knew that our people had been brought here on August the 19th of 1619 under this administration. We're fully aware that our brothers and sisters have been brought here under other administrations because before the English got to 13 colonies, the Spanish were here and the French were here. And so we know the Spanish and the French, they were here and they had captives as well. But what we're concentrating on is the 13 colonies. The 13 colonies gave birth to the 13 states, which grew into the United States of America. That's the administration that we have been under for the last 400 years, that particular administration. This administration that we've been held captives to started on August of 1619. So in 2012, which was 7 years short of 2019, which was marked for 400 years for us under this administration, not since black people in America, but under this administration. So marking the 400 years under this administration, we started a countdown. That countdown started on the banks of the James River in Jamestown, Virginia, the location where it all started with the first 20 captives who were brought in here in Chesapeake Bay on August 19 of 1619. That they sold them over up in Hampton Roads over at Fort Comfort, and then they took them down to the provincial capital, which was Jamestown, and they exchanged them for food and supplies. That was the beginning of our people, a 400-year, what we refer to as a Holocaust, not African-American history, but a Holocaust, a destruction of a people, torture, torment, and terrorism. For 400 years, from the first time our people foot has stepped on this soil, even to the last knee that was on George Floyd's neck. So for 400 years, this is what has been happening to us as the people here in the United States of America. So in 2012, we knew we were 7 years shy of that 400 years. So we started a countdown. We went back to Jamestown 7 years short because we know 7 is a very special, it's 7-year cycle, 7 days Shabbat, the 7th month, so forth, so on. That's a spiritual thing. So we knew 7 years short of the 400 years we had a spiritual connotation to it. So we started 7 years short of the 400 years. Each year, on August the 19th, we hosted what we refer to as the Israelite Holocaust, Remembrance and Observance. And we said Holocaust because the Holocaust, it means the total destruction of a people, their way of life and their heritage and their culture. So that is what happened to us, a total destruction of our way of life, our heritage, and our culture, a burnt offering, totally burnt to the ground, like a nuclear holocaust or destruction of a people's heritage. So we knew that we as a people had gone through a holocaust, a total destruction. So this wasn't no African-American history. So every August the 19th, we would host the Israelite Holocaust Remembrance and Observance. And we would go over the 400 years, brother, we were set up. We had all type of artifacts. We had articles. We had a museum. We made a museum, and in the museum during the weekend we would have it because we would always do it the whole weekend. So the whole weekend we would have the museum. We would have the hangings, the lynchings, the plantation stories, the books, this, just the whole. We laid the whole 400 years out.